Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego ready for another Green Card K1 Visa live stream here, June 8th, Monday, June 8th, 2026. And I'm here to help you guys. I want to get you over the finish line so you get your K1 visas approved and your green cards, etc. 2-year applications, 10-year spousal visas. I'm here to help you. And hang in there, guys. If you're from one of those 75 countries that the Trump administration, via the Secretary of State, has unlawfully blocked from adjudicating your green cards in those 75 countries, hang in there. Help is on the way regarding that unconstitutional debacle. And the 39 countries that were previously blocked for folks who are already in the United States, like my beautiful wife Karina from Venezuela, those green cards will be adjudicated. A federal judge in Rhode Island overturned that unlawful, illegal, unconstitutional block on American citizens' families. I spent a long time in the Navy, 20 years, protecting this country, and I never once thought that I would ever have to start thinking that I have a threat from inside our own government against American citizens' families and their foreign beneficiaries. Francois Livingston, first up to bat. Good evening, Diego and Karina. What's going on, Francois? Even J-Rod says hello. I've been trying these Jaffa cakes. Now, I was on vacation in the United Kingdom back in 1996 for 30 days, and I got hooked on Jaffa cakes. And I got these at Aldi. I guess it's a German supermarket, and I couldn't find them anywhere else, so I went in there and I bought a box of Jaffa cakes, and I am eating far too many of them, but they taste good. They're originally from the United Kingdom, but I bought them in Aldi, the supermarket, which is a German-based company. I guess their headquarters are in Germany. I don't know, but anyway, there you go. There's Jaffa cakes. Try it. If you go by Aldi, swing by there. I think they sell them in Publix too, but they're more expensive in Publix. But if you want to give Jaffa cakes a try, it's not a plug. They're not paying me to say that. I just said I like to try eating them, and they taste good. You got to get them with orange, and you can get them with raspberry. The flavor, it tastes good. Now, like I said, 39 countries that were blocked illegally and unlawfully by the director of USCIS via orders from the White House. Those 39 countries are now adjudicating the green card. So, folks, there was a lady who was an Australian citizen who was born in Sudan, and she doesn't know Sudan at all. She was raised in Australia, dual citizenship, Australian and Sudanese. But because she was born in Sudan, the Trump administration decided to block her 2-year green card adjudication. Totally illegal, unconstitutional, violating the due process rights of the beneficiary and the American citizen sponsor. She's an Australian citizen being jacked around by this White House. Well, not anymore. Now a federal judge has overturned that BS, and she should be getting her green card. Francois, not much happening. How's everything in Florida? Florida is hot and humid. Karina and I, we were out west for a week. We were out there in the Nevada climate, Nevada, Arizona climate, enjoying the nice, warm, dry air. Now we're back in this hot, sweaty, humid, tropical air, wondering if there's a hurricane going to be popping up on the horizon. But we're good. But there was supposedly an earthquake off the western coast of communist Cuba this afternoon, and people were saying they could feel it in Miami and Tampa and Orlando and Jacksonville. I mean, seriously, people were saying that they felt an earthquake in Tampa because of an earthquake off the coast of communist Cuba. I mean, talk about looking for an Oscar for a drama weekend, right? I mean, it's like, I don't know. I just can't believe that the news media here in Florida would actually report that people were feeling an earthquake from Cuba in Tampa. I mean, what was the worst thing that happened? The goldfish bowl was moving a little bit. The goldfish was like, hey, what's going on? Hey, this is pretty good. I mean, I don't know. We've never had earthquakes in Florida. We're never going to have earthquakes in Florida. We don't have an earthquake zone here. We don't have any plate movement here. But as far as communist Cuba is concerned, it's just one more thing added to the list of things that they're going to have to deal with, besides having no electricity because they're communists and they don't know how to manage an economy, right? Right? They don't know. The communist government of Cuba is a disgrace, and it's unfortunate that they're just 75, 80 miles off the coast of Key West. Now, perhaps Trump should spend more time seeing if he can help liberate Cuba and less time worrying about Iran. Although he doesn't want the Iranians to get a nuclear weapon, which I can understand, because we know for that, without a doubt, the Iranians would probably use it on Israel. Just my opinion, obviously. So maybe he's right in trying to shut down the Iranian weapons development. I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. But let's start cleaning up our own backyard first, starting with, let's say, Cuba. You know, we took Maduro out of Venezuela in 45 minutes. I'm pretty sure we can help liberate Cuba in 45 minutes too. We just got to have a mindset to go about doing it. But just think about this. The Secretary of State, the Honorable Marco Rubio, his family came to the United States. They moved to Miami from communist Cuba to escape communism. But if Trump was president when his mom and dad escaped to Miami, they probably would have been deported already. He would have already deported them, which means Marco would have been born in Havana, Cuba, not in Miami, Florida, which means he wouldn't be Secretary of State right now. So let's scratch our heads and try to figure out why in the heck Trump is trying to go after legal immigration into this country. I haven't got a clue why. Illegal immigration, I can understand. Absolutely, 100%. But all the attacks on American citizens' families that Trump's doing with his State Department and his USCIS, the attacks on he's attacking American citizen families, is what he's doing. When he put a block on my wife's 10-year green card application because she had the horrendous criminal offense of being born in Caracas, Venezuela, he was going after me. And you could probably say I helped get him elected. That ain't happening again. There's no way on planet Earth will I help any politician who went after my wife because of her place of birth, help him or her get elected into Congress or the Senate or anywhere. But thank goodness Trump is only going to have one term left, and that ends in 2029. And my wife's 10-year green card has been extended until 2030. Let's see. Francois, is Christopher Reese still around? Hope all is well with him and his family. Yeah, he's doing fine. He's okay. Francois, I read today that they're going after naturalized citizens who may have committed fraud. Well, I don't disagree with that. You know, if somebody became an American citizen, naturalized American citizen, and they're criminals and they hid that criminal activity from the immigration folks when they should have disclosed it, which would have disqualified them for U.S. citizenship, I got no problem with that. If somebody became a U.S. citizen through by hiding their past, and if their past was illegal activity in this country or in any place in the world, then I got no problem with that. Denaturalize them and give them a 10-year green card. I mean, you don't have to deport them, but you can give them a 10-year green card, take away their citizenship, and ban them from life forever becoming a U.S. citizen. Now, if they have committed horrendous crimes, just absolute horrendous crimes, then deport their ass too. Oh, I'm all for that too, but how will these not be caught earlier? Well, they weren't doing the due diligence before. You know, somebody who was a criminal filled out an N-400, lied on their application, and immigration didn't check it out hard enough. They didn't investigate it hard enough. Now they are. Now they're going back and checking everybody. You know, but I think that they're only going back like 20 years or 30 years. So if you've been a U.S. citizen for 40-something years, don't worry about it. They're not even going to bother with you. But if you've been a U.S. citizen for like 20 years or 30 years, they're going to go back and review everybody's naturalization paperwork. That's why they're getting so intense on the biometrics, making people do biometrics for green card holders. So But my beautiful wife, Karina, from Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela, a beautiful city, by the way, back in the 70s, used to be a tourist hub for the Americans and for, everybody basically, turned into a septic tank by the Chavez Maduro reign of terror. And then my wife, when she was in Venezuela, she got her degree in tax accounting, had a great job. She was the director of accounting for a major company that was shut down by the communists, which took away her job, destroyed the economy. The inflation was so high that it destroyed her bank account. The Venezuelan bolivar became worthless. So my wife gave her house to her mom, and she relocated to Colombia, Bogota, Colombia. And that's where I met her and dated her for 3 years. Thank goodness. Thank you, Maduro, for being such a commie, because if you weren't such a commie, perhaps my wife would not have had not relocated to Colombia, and I never would have met her. Or maybe I would have. Maybe I would have met her in Venezuela. But, we're in different times right now. We're living in different times. We got all these wars going on. We got all these embassies in Africa going to be closed. We've got the immigration process being ran by, people who think they can do whatever the hell they want in violation of the Immigration and Nationality Act, blocking green card holders. Like my friend's wife is from Colombia. He's trying to get her to the United States, but her green card's being blocked by the Trump administration. Why? Well, the reasoning is they think that she can become a public charge. Well, the guy makes 6 figures. Totally, it's impossible that she'll become a public charge. There's no way on planet Earth. He's got a 4,000 square foot house, makes a lot of money, and has got a beautiful wife from Colombia. And Trump is saying, well, we think that she could become a public charge. It's all BS. They're just trying to stop legal immigration. I'm up to here sick of it. I never have bashed Republicans before. Never. I've never bashed them. I have never bashed Republicans. Right now, I'm telling people to leave the Republican Party and become politically independent. That's the way I feel about them now. Let's see here. Francois, I'm all for that too. They didn't get caught earlier because immigration didn't do their due diligence. Now they're doing due diligence. Copperhead, Diego, for your first experience with your wife, would you say it was about the same or worse compared to the Filipino I was about to marry? What do you mean? My first wife from Colombia? I divorced her because she didn't like the United States. She didn't want to be a part of this country. She wouldn't assimilate. My first wife from Colombia, I went through the K-1 visa process with her. Then, I got her K-1 visa approved, brought her over here, got married within 90 days, and then she didn't like it here. Well, if you don't like it in America, you either love it or leave it. So I helped her ass back home. I took her back to Bogota, Colombia, and to her mom's house and helped her get back home. And then she wanted to come back to America. So then I filed a spousal visa and got her approved on an I-130 spousal visa. And then I got it approved. I called her up and said, okay, you got to go schedule your medical exam. And she said, nah, I decided I want to stay in Colombia. Well, you don't get but 2 chances with Diego. First, I got her K-1 visa approved. Then I got her I-130 approved. Then she said no twice to come back to the United States. I said, we're done. And I divorced her ass. I mean, I don't have a problem. She's not a bad person. But don't jack me around. I run my life with my head, not my heart. I run everything. All my decisions are based on intellectual decision making, like Spock from Star Trek. I don't run with emotion. I run with intellectual. I guess the word is not intellectual independence. I don't make stupid mistakes. So then I divorced her, and then I was single for a long time, and then I met Karina in Colombia. I know Colombia like the back of my hand. I've been there like 20 times. I've made 15 or 20 trips there. My first passport I ran out of space for visa stamps. So I divorced a Colombian, and she's not a bad person. I'm not saying that she didn't use me for a green card by any means, not at all. She just didn't like this country. She really didn't. She was scared of hurricanes, didn't like the weather, didn't like Walmart, didn't like the food, didn't like TV, didn't. I'm like, is there anything you like? She said, I miss my mom, I miss my family, I miss my friends. I said, we're okay, come on, let's go. So I bought her a plane ticket, flew her back home to Colombia. This is years ago, by the way. This was a long time ago, 10, 11 years ago. And then she wanted to come back. I filed an I-130. I got her spousal visa approved, got the interview scheduled via the MVC, and then she decided she didn't want to come back after all. After I spent all that money and all that time helping her. But she wasn't using me for a green card. She basically didn't. She just didn't want to be here. I said, okay. Some people just don't fit into this American way of life. She liked being in the Latino culture of Colombia. I'm not angry at all. So she's single now. I became single. And then after several years, I met Karina. And then I went through the K1 visa process for the second time. And this time, it's the final time. Okay, let's see. So what was my experience with my first wife from Colombia? She wasn't trying to defraud me out of anything. But this Filipino girl, Copperhead, was trying to rip you off $5,000. That's the difference. I have not yet met a Latina female who has any ill intent or has been trying to secure a green card from an American. And I've been handling green cards and K1 visas for 13 years. I've yet to find a Latina from Colombia, from Venezuela. Their mindset's not that way. They're very Christian minded. They're Catholic primarily, and they're very family oriented. When you marry a Latina, when you marry somebody from South America, you marry their entire family. Don't forget that. Copperhead, was I headed in the right direction? What do you mean? You're in the right direction by getting rid of that Filipino. She's trying to rip you off, man. Las Barreras, I got the confirmation letter for the I-751. Oh, good. Well, there you go. Now I got zero sugar lemonade, pink lemonade, a zero sugar pink lemonade for Las Barreras. Congratulations. 48-month extension. Miguel, what's up, Diego? It's almost time for the Disclosure Day movie. The Disclosure Day movie, when's that coming out? Tell me, when is it coming out? I think that they made a video. I think, who was that guy? Made a movie for Amazon with aliens and things like that. He made a video about S4 and Bob Lazar's experience in S4. That's the video I want to see, the movie I want to see. Las Barreras and a letter, 48-month extension for my husband. There you go, 48-month extension. So his green card is good until June of 2030, or maybe July of 2030. Francois Livingston, how long did it take Karina to wait for her 48-month extension letter? It took 21 days exactly. Now, what's interesting is this. After 3 weeks, I wrote a letter to immigration in Elgin, Illinois, and said, hey, what's the holdup? Get off your backsides. Let's get this 48-month letter of extension. And I sent that letter certified mail. And then that day I sent it certified mail telling immigration to hurry up. I got her 48-month letter of extension. So we crossed in the mail. So it took 21 days. Copperhead. I think I was headed in the direction of, if I married the Filipina, I would have married the whole family. The same is true with a Latino family. If you marry a lady from Colombia, Venezuela, from any South American country, you're marrying the whole family. Okay? You are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like when I went to Colombia, when Karina and I, we rented an apartment together in Bogota. She was living in a small apartment because she was single. Okay, so there wasn't a whole bunch of room for the both of us. So when I went, what I told her to do was look for a big apartment with a nice big view of the city, a nice view and everything, and I'll cover half of everything. So she basically found a big penthouse suite and overlooking the city, close to everything, and I basically just moved in with her, and used up all my Colombian tourist visas. I burned through those pretty quickly, and then I got a 1-year extension to live in Colombia, and then I got another 3-month tourist visa. So I spent a lot of time in Colombia, and we shared the bills for the apartment in Colombia. It was great. It was a great experience. I mean, I've lived in all different kinds of countries, and I think Colombia was my favorite. Let's see. Congratulations to Karina. Thank you, Francois. Miguel, Disclosure Day comes out this Friday, is by Steven Spielberg. Well, that's interesting because Steven Spielberg, when he released the movie, what was that? What was the name of that movie that he produced and directed back in 1970? I think it was 1977. He came out with that first movie about aliens, and it's he believes in extraterrestrial life on other planets. I just can't remember the name of the movie. It was 1977, and he directed that movie with Richard Dreyfuss. Great movie. Twan Benson. Hello, Diego from Tampa, Florida. May 17. My I-751 arrived to Illinois last Thursday. Now waiting for USCIS to respond. Okay, so you mailed it to Elgin, Illinois. So give them 3 to 4 weeks, and you'll get the extension letter. Give them 3 or 4 weeks from the day they receive it. You sent it UPS, FedEx, right? UPS, FedEx, DHL, whatever the receipt day is. Print that receipt from UPS or whatever. You got to print proof delivery, and it should take about 3 to 4 weeks. For us, it took less than 15 days to get the extension letter, said Las Barreras. Okay, good. That's good. Twan Benson, congratulations to Mrs. Ross on her extension. And you sent your package UPS. Yeah, we use UPS too. But yeah, on May, immigration, Elgin, Illinois received our 15 pounds of evidence. We had 15 pounds of evidence that we mailed, including the I-751. They received it we mailed it May 9th, 3-day delivery, cost me $79. And it took 3 days, to get there. We mailed it over the weekend, so we shipped it on a Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they got it on a Monday, on the May 12th. And then June 2nd, we received the extension letter. 3 weeks, 21 days. So now my wife from Venezuela, okay, who's had to endure a administration for some reason that doesn't like Venezuelans. It's ridiculous. Trump says he wants to make Venezuela the 51st state on this hand, and then on this hand, he was blocking my wife from her 10-year green card. It doesn't, in violation of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Now, I don't have a problem with Trump. I don't dislike the man at all. He's done a great job protecting our country and blocking illegal immigration. But when he started going after green card holders from specific countries, that's a violation of Immigration and Nationality Act. You can't do that. You can't do that, Mr. President Trump. You just can't sit in your Oval Office and make decisions like that when we have a Congress and a Senate that are included in that trilateral governance in our republic. Miguel, what extension letter, Diego? Why did Karina need that? You don't understand this process, Miguel? Karina had a 2-year green card, right? A 2-year green card, which expires on June 26th of this month. In order to live in this country and continue working and living in this country legally, you have to have documentation that says you can live and work here. Well, it's going to take a year at least to get her 10-year green card adjudicated. So while she's waiting for the 10-year green card to get adjudicated, she got a letter of extension on her expired 2-year green card. So her green card expires in about 2 weeks, but she has a letter of extension until June of 2030, which is more than enough time for her 2-year green card to get changed into a 10-year green card, which it will, without doubt. Without a doubt. We're not worried about it. I wasn't even worried about Trump blocking her 2-year green card from changing to a 10-year green card because I knew it was illegal what he was doing, and it was unconstitutional, and it violated the Immigration and Nationality Act. And I knew that there were some very strong immigration attorneys out there filing litigation against him for doing that. And it got overturned by a federal judge out of Rhode Island, which I knew was going to happen. And the same is going to happen for those folks from those 75 countries who are being unlawfully blocked from green card adjudication. It's going to get thrown out by a federal judge. Doesn't matter what federal judge, but it's going to get overturned because it's illegal. Just like when President Trump said he wanted to charge $100,000 for a freaking H-1B1 visa. If you want to come here on a work permit, H-1B1, the company has to pay $100,000. Only the Congress can do that and change that. President Trump can't say, oh, let's charge $100,000 for a work visa. Let's build these companies, 100 grand. The Immigration and Nationality Act does not authorize that as per the Congress. So today that got thrown out with, it's crazy, right? Trump's trying to do what he thinks is best for the country. I'm not saying Trump's doing a bad thing, but he's making decisions that he doesn't have authority to make. And it's going to hurt him in the midterm elections in November. I know it will. Let's see. Francois Livingston, Diego, review time. So now that Karina got her extension letter, what's the next step? I'm only asking so I know what the steps come after that. Thank you. Okay, Francois, this is what's going on. Karina and I filed for her 10-year green card. Immigration accepted all the paperwork as correct. I've never made a mistake on paperwork. They took in her 10-year green card application. They mailed her a letter of extension for her 10-year green card, for her 2-year green card. So when her 2-year green card expires in a couple of weeks, she's still legally able to live and work here and travel because that letter authorizes her. The I-797C letter says you can still live in this country, Karina, for the next 4 years, which is enough time for us to adjudicate your 10-year green card. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue running this YouTube channel for you guys to help you so I can pull you guys over the finish line. And we're going to kick back and we're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for her 10-year green card. If after 18 months we haven't heard from immigration, I will file an inquiry and say, where the hell is this freaking green card? Now, immigration can't say, well, it's on an immigration hold right now because of President Trump, because that BS got thrown out with the bathwater by a federal judge because it was illegal. So what we're going to do now is wait a year or a year and a half, and then we'll get a letter in the mail saying either here's your green card in the mail, or we'll get a letter in the mail saying you got to go to a green card interview in New Orleans or in Alabama somewhere. Okay, we don't care. We'll go to a green card interview, but it's not going to be for about a year or a year and a half because that's how long it takes to process a 10-year green card. So right now, Karina has made it from K1 to 2-year green card to extension letter to her 2-year green card. And the next step is going to be her 10-year green card. And she'll get it in about a year. But in a year from now, she qualifies for U.S. citizenship. So whether we've received her 10-year green card or not is irrelevant. Because according to USCIS, once she's been living in the United States continuously without a break for 3 years, I'm not talking about vacations, I'm talking without a long break, longer than 180 days, then she can apply for U.S. citizenship. by next year, Karina will be a U.S. citizen, so long as her English skills are up to par. And she goes to English class now 4 times a week. Well, she is during the summer. During June, she's going pretty much every night. She's going to English class, so we can get her English skills up to par, where she can go in and ace the U.S. citizenship interview. That's what we're doing. That's why she's not sitting here right now. She's not sitting here because she's in class until 8 o'clock tonight. Francois, was it Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Right. Steven Spielberg directed the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind with Richard Dreyfuss. It came out in 1977. I remember because I took my little brother to go watch it. I think he was like 7 years old or 8 years old, something like that, even younger, 5 years old. I can't remember. Let me see, 77. So he was about 4 years old. That movie was pretty close to reality, if you believe in that stuff. Now, if you don't believe in UFOs and aliens and stuff, that's fine. That's no problem. But I do. I believe that, there's life on other planets. Seriously, if people just realized how big this universe, our universe is filled with billions and billions and billions of galaxies that are filled with billions and billions and billions of stars that have millions and millions and millions of planets. There's got to be life out there somewhere more advanced than what we are, just by the math. So, but that's my opinion. And Close Encounters of the Third Kind was really close to what really happened under a Project Serpo. And in Project Serpo, we exchanged Americans we sent allegedly, I think, 12 Americans to another planet for 13 years. Project Serpo. And Close Encounters of the Third Kind was based around when they were leaving for that planet. Because at the very end of the movie, they all get on the UFO, right? But that's just my opinion. Miguel, will I need the extension letter for my wife? She got her 2-year green card April 2025. Okay, so Miguel, if your wife got her 2-year green card April 2025, in 90 days before her green card expires, go look at her green card. Look at when it expires. 90 days. Within 90 days before it expires, you must lift the conditions off of that 2-year green card and apply for her 10-year green card. Whereupon, once you successfully apply for the 10-year green card, if you don't make any mistakes in the letter, in the process, in the application, you will get a letter of extension, which gives your wife some breathing room to still continue her legal status while they adjudicate her 10-year green card. Okay? So, Miguel, April 2027 is when your wife's green card is going to expire, right? Something like that. So, January or February or March of 2027, you need to be filing an I-751 with all your evidence collected over the last 2 years of being happily married to prove you are still happily married to get your green card. Francois, is Hamid going to have an issue come next April or May of 2027 when we send in his 10-year green card application? No, he's not. He's from Morocco, right? Hamid is from Morocco, and he had his green card interview, his K1 visa interview was in the United Arab Emirates. You flew out there and accompanied him to his interview. He got his interview approved, his K1. You flew to America. You got married within 90 days. You filed for the 2-year green card. You got the 2-year green card. You followed everything by the book, right? In accordance with the Immigration and Nationality Act and this YouTube channel, because I never steal you wrong. I never give anybody bad information. He got his 2-year green card. And then President Trump in January signed a memo saying he was going to block green card adjudications for people from countries like Venezuela, from Morocco, where Hamid's from, and other countries, Haiti. He doesn't have the authority to do that. Only Congress can do that. So when he did that, and when I realized that Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, was going to be put on an indefinite hold, I started getting my political friends lined up, ready for battle, and I was ready to go to war. And I've got the Constitution on my side, I've got the Congress on my side, and the Immigration and Nationality Act. And the Congress, our Congress right now, Republicans and Democrats, they're both useless. When Trump signed that memo blocking adjudication of green cards for people from those, I think it started out as 19 countries, then it was 39 countries. There was a partial ban, there was a total ban. Then Marco Rubio came out and put a block on 75 countries for consular processing. It's all illegal. It's totally in violation of congressional law. And because I have 13 years of experience processing visas and green cards, I know what the law says by the book. So I knew it was illegal, and I knew it would get overturned. I was just freaking peed off, irritated that we have a person in the White House trying to block legal immigration to this country who are following congressional law. It's just totally insane. This country was built by immigrants. Marco Rubio is the son of immigrants from Cuba. Trump is a son of immigrants from Scotland. His wife, Melania, is an immigrant from Slovakia, I believe. She was a green card holder. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, who was a great ally of Trump, was an immigrant from South Africa via Canada. The country was built around immigration, legal immigration. Elon Musk immigrated to this country legally. He became a U.S. citizen. He followed due process. Now he runs SpaceX, Tesla. What other? The X. It used to be Twitter, right? I mean, the man's a genius. He's a genius. And you know, can you imagine if he was denied his green card? Can you imagine if Marco Rubio's mom and dad were deported because they weren't welcome in this country? Marco Rubio would be living in a 2-room shack right now with no electricity in Havana, Cuba, trying to keep the freaking light on, wondering where his next meal is coming from. No. Legal immigration is congressional law. So those 39 countries, including Venezuela and including Nigeria and Morocco, these countries, it's back in play. Those people will get their green cards as long as they qualify. Now, when the federal judge overturned the unconstitutional ruling by Trump, that memo was illegal. When he overturned it, the federal judge didn't say you're all going to get your green cards, you've been approved. That's not what he did. What he did was he overturned the illegal memo and gave USCIS told them to do their job and go back to adjudication. You either qualify for the green card or you don't. If you don't qualify for it, then you're not going to get it. If you do qualify for it, you will get it. But Trump was putting everybody into indefinite limbo, legal limbo. That's BS, man. I'm done with Republicans and Democrats because neither one of those political parties did anything when Trump did that. Trump needs to concentrate on illegal immigration. Leave USCIS alone to do their job. Leave the consular officers alone to do their job at the embassies and continue processing green cards like the Congress put in place. And I'm going to battle for you guys. I'm going to go to battle for you guys. I'm not afraid of these freaking people. I got members. I know members of Congress personally. I got their cell numbers in my phone. They know not to jack with me. Let's see here. Miguel, okay, thank you, Diego. I will check her expiration date. There you go. Check her expiration date on her green card. and then subtract 90 days from the expiration date, Miguel. And within that 90-day time frame, you got to lift the conditions off of the 2-year green card. If you do not lift the conditions with form I-751, your wife will get a letter of removal from the United States. Francois Livingston did all that, and we sure followed the rules accordingly. Never been happier in my life. There you go. A zero sugar pink lemonade salute to Francois. And also to Hamid, too. We know that Hamid is the silent partner behind the scenes. James McLean, hello, Diego. We had our 2-year green card interview Thursday, passed with flying colors, but because my wife is from Nigeria, they can't mail her green card. Now that the ban has been lifted by the cards, when do you think we will get her green card? She'll get it. Give it a bit, 8 weeks. Remember, what Trump did was illegal and violated all kinds of congressional law. So give it about 2 months, because now everybody's backlogged and behind because of what Trump did. So you got people who are eligible for green cards who were put on hold, who are now going to get their green cards, but it's going to give them time to produce them. Okay, so just kick back and relax. I told you she would get it. I told you to keep pressing on with it because you were worried about it, and I said don't worry about it. Only Congress can change the immigration law. The president, his job is to secure the borders. His job isn't to write legislation from his office. His job is to sign legislation, not to write legislation. Congress writes legislation. The president signs it into law. Okay? The president doesn't have the authority to make his own freaking rules up and then tell immigration how to run the show. The Congress does that. Like he had no authority to charge $100,000 for an H-1B1 visa. I'm pretty sure that's got tossed out by a court today too. And if you are from one of those 75 countries that's still under a pause or a block, like if you're from Colombia, Brazil, I believe is on the list, Cameroon's on the list, don't worry. You're going to be okay. You'll get, if you qualify, you'll get your green card, okay? Hang in there. Be patient. That's all I can say. I tried these Jaffa cakes. I don't know. They taste pretty good. Jaffa cakes. Woo. I pretty much ate the whole box. I shouldn't have done that because there's such a lot of sugar in it, but hey, they taste good. If you want me to help you, pull you over the finish line, I've helped so many people. You want me to help you get your green card, get your K-1 visa approved. Doesn't matter what country you're from. I'm going to help you. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care what your religion is. I'm going to help you. Family reunification is important to me. I know how bad, I was separated from Karina for a year. Okay. When my 1-year Colombian visa expired, I had to come back to the United States. I had a few days left on it. I came back. And so and then because I'd used up all my tourist visas and I'd used up the 1-year residency visa for Colombia, we were separated for a year. It sucked. But we were talking every day on WhatsApp, and I kept printing all the screenshots. I kept printing everything. Okay. And then we filed for the K-1 visa. We got her K-1 visa approved. And then I flew to Colombia. And then I accompanied Karina to the United States, to Miami, from Colombia, from Bogota. Then we drove home here. Then we got married within 90 days. We got her Social Security card. We got her on the bank. We got her on the title to the car, the deed to the house. By then, we'd been together for 3 years. We'd known each other for 3 years. We were ready to roll. Miguel, how long does the 10-year green card take? Well, let's see. We filed for Karina's 10-year green card. Immigration received it on May 12th of 2026. So by May of 2027, we should be hearing from immigration. Either, we've approved it. Here's the green card in the mail, or, you missed something in the paperwork, which I haven't, but they could say that. Or we're going to have an appointment set for you. Or, just go to biometrics and we'll mail you the green card. But we'll give it about a year from now, a year and a half. Probably the longest I'll wait is a year and a half before I start making contact with immigration. So by then, though, by June of 2027, by next year, if Karina can speak English better, if her English is more fluent, we're going to file for her U.S. citizenship. So she may not have received her 10-year green card, but what will happen is we'll go to the U.S. citizenship interview, and then they will adjudicate her 10-year green card on the spot, and then they will adjudicate her for U.S. citizenship. And then she becomes a U.S. citizen, and then she'll go to a naturalization ceremony, and she'll get a naturalization certificate, and then she's done with all this immigration stuff. We're done. But guess what? We're still going to run the YouTube channel for you guys. Even long after Karina's become a U.S. citizen and she's got no more immigration paperwork to fill out, we're still going to run the channel for you guys. Francois Livingston, we can't help not worrying, Diego, because we did things the right way, followed the rules. Yes, you did. You endured sleepless nights throughout the process. Yes, you did. And practically lived in the library. There you go. But all of your hard work and due diligence paid off. Now you and Hamid are happily married. He's got his 2-year green card. Next year, he'll get his 10-year green card, or you can apply for it next year. It's going to take about a year to get it. But by then, he can become a U.S. citizen. Miguel, so Karina can become a U.S. citizen next year. Yeah. June of 2027, she's eligible for being a U.S. citizen. In 12 months. Okay? So we will file the N400 in May of 2027. Only if her English skills are up to par, though. If she cannot read and write English or understand questions or directions in English, then we won't apply. We'll wait another year. We'll wait until 2028. But I think she'll get there. She'll be all right. But remember this. The 10-year green card is a permanent green card. If you forget accidentally to renew your 10-year green card, you're not going to get deported. You might get a nasty letter from immigration. Hey, knucklehead, you forgot to renew your green card. Get it done. Then you renew your green card. But you won't be deported for not filing on time. But if you don't lift the conditions off your 2-year green card on time, you will be deported. That's the difference between a 2-year and a 10-year green card. One of the differences. The 2-year green card is like you have a GPS ankle bracelet around your ankle and the government's tracking you. You're on probation. When you graduate to a 10-year green card, you take the GPS bracelet off. You're no longer on probation. You're now good to go. But the only thing is, if you move, you must notify immigration within 10 days. Let's see. James McLean. Diego, how can Karina become a U.S. citizen without first getting her 10-year green card? Because immigration says if you have lived in the United States for 3 years, married to an American citizen, you are qualified. You are eligible for U.S. citizenship. Is she required to have a 10-year green card for 1 year before she applies? No, she isn't. The requirements to apply for U.S. citizenship is this. If you have been married to a U.S. citizen for 36 months continuously, you are eligible to apply for U.S. citizenship, whether you have your green card or not, the 10-year. So what happens is this. Let's supposing Karina does not get her 10-year green card by June of next year. It could happen, but she applies for U.S. citizenship. She will go to a U.S. citizenship interview with her 2-year expired green card, her letter of extension, okay, showing that she applied for her 10-year green card, and she will be interviewed for U.S. citizenship. She will also be interviewed for her 10-year green card at the same time. Okay? So she'll be adjudicated for the 10-year green card. Okay, passed. Now let's do the U.S. citizenship. Okay, passed. She becomes a U.S. citizen without a 10-year green card in her hand physically, but she qualifies by time. 36 months, continuous residency in the United States with good moral character, married to a U.S. citizen. Okay? That's when she will qualify. That's when you guys will qualify. If you are married to an American citizen, well, you're on this channel, right? This is why you're here, to learn how to do this. After 3 years, you can become American. Whether you have your 10-year green card in your hand or not is irrelevant, but you must apply for it. If you do not apply for your 10-year green card, you will be deported. Francois Livingston. Wait a second. Yeah, Francois Livingston. Or Miguel. Question from Miguel. Let me see. I got all kinds of questions. Miguel, when you file for citizenship, when do you take the exam or interview? Well, we'll file the N400 online, and then we wait for a date. It could take 3 or 4 months, but you wait for the date. When immigration says your U.S. citizenship interview is on this day at this place, then you're going to go to the interview with your expired 2-year green card, your 4-year letter of extension, your marriage certificate, your tax returns, evidence, pictures, continued evidence of your relationship. That's what happens. Francois Hamid honestly cannot wait, and he's excited to become a U.S. citizen. That's the way he should be. Francois, that's exactly what the immigration officer told us, Diego, at Hamid's 2-year green card interview. You are spot on. Francois, I've been doing this for so long. Really, I could get hired by USCIS. I could be an immigration officer. You know, I can't say I can be an immigration attorney, because I'm not an immigration attorney by any means, but I have the same knowledge that they have. And I've seen some incompetent attorneys out there screw up people's lives because of bad freaking information. So I'm here to make sure that you get good information, even though it's not legal advice. I'm not an immigration attorney, folks, but I could do the job in my sleep. Miguel, 3 years living continuously and married for citizenship, but vacations don't count. You said, right, Diego? No, vacations don't count. If you're married, if you married to a Filipina and you decide you want to go to the Philippines for a 2-week vacation, you go for 2 weeks, 3-week vacation, you come back to the United States, that does not break your continuous residency. Okay? That means you just went on vacation. But if you have applied for U.S. citizenship and you have 180 days outside of the United States spread out over those 3 years, you know, that's supposing you were gone for 3 months, and then the next year you were gone for 3 months, and then the year after that you were gone for 4 months. If all those days add up to 180 days, you will be denied U.S. citizenship because you have not lived continuously in the United States. When Karina applies for U.S. citizenship and the immigration officer asks her, have you lived continuously in the United States? She will say, yes, ma'am, I have never left the United States. I've been living here for 36 months continuously. Have you ever left the United States for a vacation? No, ma'am. We went on vacation to Arizona, California, Nevada, Utah, maybe New York. I want to take her to New York. Karina would love to go to New York City. So, you know, hang in there, guys. James McLean. So Miguel 7. No, vacations don't count towards, as long as it's not past 180 days in the 3 years. If you've been gone from this country 180 days over 36 months, split up over those 3 years, you will not become a U.S. citizen. You will be denied U.S. citizenship. James McLean. What is my wife's legal status now? We were under ban, but now we are just waiting for green card to get mailed. Is she at risk of being deported while we wait? No. She followed congressional law. James, listen. You followed the Immigration and Nationality Act. You followed the law. The Trump administration didn't follow the law. They violated the Immigration and Nationality Act.
putting thousands of people into legal limbo in their minds. But really, you were not. Only an immigration judge can deport somebody. President Trump cannot deport somebody. Marco Rubio cannot deport somebody. Only an immigration judge can deport somebody after having a hearing. Okay? And right now, I think, isn't your wife from Nigeria? Nigeria was put on a ban, but it was illegally done. So it violated congressional law. And Congress didn't do anything about it. That's how weak they are. Our Congress is useless. They can't even balance a freaking budget. So your wife is from Nigeria, and she will get her green card. She is not going to be deported. If you haven't heard from immigration in about 3 months, contact immigration. Contact immigration in about 3 months and say, hey, where's my wife's green card? And if they say, well, she was put on a pause because of Nigeria being put on a pause, you can say that was overturned by a federal judge. And right now, immigration is in violation of a court order from a federal judge if you do not mail me my freaking green card. And then if it gets to the worst case scenario, you can get an immigration attorney, pay an immigration attorney a letter, pay them to write a letter to immigration and ask them to mail you the green card. A consultation is about $300 or $400 probably. Getting them to write a letter, maybe $200 or $300. Get ready for battle. But she's going to get her green card. And no, she's not going to get deported. And yes, she is a legal resident of the United States because you followed the law. And President Trump cannot do anything about that unless Congress changes the law and he signs a new law into law, which isn't going to happen. You're good, James. Your wife's good. Everything's fine. Francois, wait until the World Cup is over before venturing out to New York City. A good idea, Francois. We're gonna probably do it next year. Chris, blue alert issued. Mississippi, blue alert has been issued after a deputy was shot in the Mount Olive area. 19-year-old, I can't pronounce that name, and 19-year-old, I can't pronounce that name, are wanted. Miguel, you skipped me. So does the 3-year requirement for citizenship start once my wife stepped foot onto the United States? No, it starts on the day her green card was issued. No. Miguel 7, look at your wife's 2-year green card. What does the issue date say? That's when the clock starts for U.S. citizenship or for a 10-year green card. Look on her 2-year green card. Look at the issue date. That's when the clock starts turning. If you even believe in time. I was a physics major, physics guy. My classroom studies were basically physics and astronomy, even though I can't stand math. And I do like math, but it depends on the day, right? And, time, does it exist? Maybe it doesn't even exist. Who created time anyway? Who invented the clock? Got you thinking, right? Fazak, so when you receive your 2-year green card, it is dated from the interview approval or date it was printed. The issue date. Look on the green card. When was it issued? When does it expire? The issue date. Okay, guys, all good questions, Diego. Why is time linear? Who says time's linear? Does time exist? I've been talking for an hour, 60 minutes. Where did those 60 minutes come from? Who created those 60 minutes? Was it from a clock hand going around in a circle? Was it from the Earth rotating around the sun, or the sun rotating around the galaxy? This is good stuff, right, man? I can't wait to get my J-Rod channel started, and then I can get into that kind of stuff. Fazak, we haven't received our green card. Contact immigration. Send them a letter. Your wife is from Burma, right? Isn't she from Burma? Fazak? I'm trying to remember. I think she is. Contact immigration. Yeah, she's from Burma. Contact immigration and ask and do an inquiry. And say, hey, where's my wife's green card? Ask them. Put it in writing. Send it certified mail. Make them open the letter. Do an inquiry. You're due for an inquiry. She should have received her green card. But, you know, like I said, immigration is backlogged right now because of the Trump administration. I don't know how much more damage he can do to this country in regards to legal immigration, but it's unprecedented. And it's a shame because he did such a good job in blocking illegals from coming into our country, which was freeing up time for you guys to get your green cards. Now he's going after you guys. He's done politically, honestly. And it's unfortunate because he's done a great job so far in regards to illegal immigration. Okay, guys. Fazak. Time. The Thai calendar is 500 years ahead of West. But does time even exist? What if there were no stars in the sky? What if space was totally empty of any atoms, protons, quarks, electrons? What if there was nothing in space? No light, and there was no light, because the stars create light from hydrogen burning into helium, right? What if they didn't exist? What if they're all burned out and there's no protons, there's nothing? Does time exist? Because we base time upon what? We base time upon the Earth rotating around the sun, a hand going around on the clock. But if they don't exist, does time exist? That's why I'm such a patient person. Okay, guys, we'll see you later. So yeah, we'll get back to talking about green cards and K1 visas. If you're from one of those 75 countries, you're going to get your green card if you qualify. If you're from one of those 39 countries that Trump blocked, you're going to get your green card as long as you qualify. Fazak, your wife is from Burma. She's going to get her green card. You just, because you qualified for the benefit, you just got to write them a letter, a reminder letter, and tell them, hey, where's the green card? Send them a letter and document it, keep a copy of it, and then give them about 4 weeks to 6 weeks to respond. Francois gets the last word. Good night, Francois. Good night, everybody. Be patient during the process. Miguel, infinite timeless timelines being played out. Yeah. I mean, I could exist in another universe doing this very same thing, right? See you guys at the next live stream.